Greetings, viewers. This is King Echu from Southern Cameroon and Bazonia. Welcome to my platform. This is a Pan African platform. Please like, share, and subscribe. Today, I'll be having a discussion on two countries, one from Northern Africa and the other one from East Africa. And the issue has to be around the dam. These two countries are Ethiopia, which is from East Africa, and Egypt, which is from Northern Africa. You see, with this issue that has been going on for some time now, um, other nations are pouring in their support. As a matter of fact, the Arab League, which is made of 22 countries, and in those 22 countries, you have countries in Northern Africa, countries like Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt, which is part of the Northern African countries, and also part of the Arab League. The Arab League showing support to Egypt and including the other nations of Northern Africa who are also part of the Arab League, showing support to Ethiopia over the issue with um, the dam being built in Ethiopia. But I don't see countries in East Africa showing their support to Ethiopia. I wonder why. You see, with the fact that some of the African countries are doing business with other African countries, which is a good thing. It is a good thing. But it is the process of African countries doing business with other African countries is so slow that it wouldn't really do much help in building up Africa. Systems are already in place. Take, for example, like Northern Africa and the dam. All the countries like Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya spoke for Egypt, you know, showed their support, showed their solidarity with Egypt over Ethiopia. In other words, Northern Africa with Arab leagues, Arab League showed their solidarity. They showed their bloc power. And if the Northern African countries could actually utilize the North African bloc power, it will make those countries more and that region more powerful. You see, and this is something that other African countries from other regions need to learn. As I said, the Northern African countries showed their solidarity with Egypt, including Arab League or Arab League nations. But how many East African countries have showed their solidarity with um, with Ethiopia? I'm not sure how many have, but not many. As a matter of fact, the only country that I know that's actually standing up with Ethiopia is South Africa, and South Africa is in Southern Africa. So why is it that a country that is not even closer to Ethiopia is speaking of Ethiopia? Meanwhile, you have countries like um, Eritrea, Somalia, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, not speaking up for an East African country that is facing a little dilemma, a little problem issue with another African country, despite the fact that they're African countries. But the other African countries within Northern Africa are actually showing solidarity with Egypt over Ethiopia to the point that other Arab nations that are not within Africa are showing solidarity to Egypt. As a matter of fact, as Ethiopia on Friday had to slam the alleged blind support for Egypt by the Arab League in relation to the 5 million dam in Addis Ababa. This is something that if all the countries in the region of Africa can actually show solidarity within their region, it will make the regions powerful. It's, if West African countries could work together and show solidarity, then West African countries will become even more powerful, you know, to stand against bullying. Because there's a lot of bullying going on across other nations. Like, take for example, when China had to bully Zambia to make a common mayor in a city to apologize because because Chinese employer was maltreating a Zambian, you know. But it's time for Africa to start standing up as a bloc. The system is already there. East Africa, West Africa, Central Africa. All what is needed is to make those countries in those regions to work as a team for the growth of Africa. If not Northern Africa could stand up and show solidarity to Egypt over Ethiopia, to the fact that with the fact that even Arab leagues, Arab nations are also showing solidarity. As a matter of fact, let me bring another point of view. When it comes to the Arab League and the kafala system, where it has to do with uh, domestic workers in Arab countries. How do Arab nations treat blacks in Arab countries who are working as domestic workers? They treat them to a system called the kafala system. You know, you remember there was a case which is probably still going on in Libya, where blacks were being sold as slaves, that is also part of the kafala system, something that is happening inside Africa in an Arab African country. You see, the way Arab countries treat black people goes as far as how Arabs saw black people in the past, how they treated black people, and how they see black people. They diminish the humanity of black people, you know. And this all happens, but the African Arab countries or countries in Northern Africa do not even speak up for blacks who are being maltreated in Arab countries, and they are also part of the Arab League. But they, they won't speak up for black people in the Arab countries who are being maltreated, who are being used like slaves, who are being, you know, used in this system called the kafala. They will not speak for them. They will not stand up for them. But when it comes to an issue between two nations like Egypt and Ethiopia, the entire Arab League is speaking up for Egypt and against Ethiopia. But they maltreat our citizens, African citizens in Arab countries, even as far as selling black Africans in Libya as slaves. Because if you look at it, the northern African countries who see themselves as Arab, not as Africans, maltreat Africans to the point that even Arab countries outside of Africa still maltreat African people. So, how can there be true African unity when Northern African countries do not treat Africans with dignity and respect? In other words, Egypt is just flaunting her power that she has with the Arab League to subdue Ethiopia, to show that they are more powerful. I have my friends who are showing solidarity with me. You should do as I say. They're using their power, their might over Ethiopia. When the Arab League is speaking and standing up with Egypt over Ethiopia, they're using their power to suppress, to tell, to threaten, to show to Egypt that, hey, you better do what the Egyptians are telling you to do. That's pretty much what they're doing. They say united. The Arab League is united, and the Arab League stands and speaks for the members of the Arab League. But that also means that the East African countries are not united, and that is a problem. That is a problem that Ethiopia needs to work out with the rest of East African countries. Because if you're going through something like this and other East African countries cannot stand up with you, but you see Northern African countries with the Arab leagues showing solidarity to one of theirs over, you know, over Ethiopia. That should also tell you that Africa is not united, will not be united, cannot be united, despite what little uh, uh, what little attempts other African countries are making to demonstrate unity. There still isn't unity in Africa. African countries are not standing up as a bloc. They're not standing. And if they cannot stand up as a bloc, how can they stand up as one united Africa? It's impossible. When the Arab League has a stronger bond, a stronger connection with Northern African countries, think about it. Then how can there be unity? Right there, Egypt is using the connection they have in the Arab League to suppress and subdue Ethiopia. And none of the East African countries are even speaking up in solidarity with Ethiopia. That's a problem. The only way for Africa to rise is through the regional bloc. Because with the nations that we have, many of which are very small nations. There's no competition when it comes to standing up against a country like China, who is bullying her way across the entire world and trying to be the number one superpower in the world. That goes with the Arab League. Notice the Arab League will always stand up with Northern African countries because they are members of the Arab League and they are also Arabs, despite the fact that the countries are in Africa. So that shows you that there's no unity within Africa. Just that itself, the unity between Northern Africa and Arab nations are more stronger compared to Africa. So it's only wise for East African countries to stand up as a bloc. It's only wise for Central African nations to stand up as a power bloc. It's only wise for East African countries, Northern African countries, Southern African countries, West African countries to stand up as a bloc. Because the dream of having a one superpower African nation will never actualize because we are too divided regional wise to stand as a one united Africa. African unity through African Union will never actualize, will never come to life, will never exist. Even though um, a great man like Floyd Lumumba said that in 100 years, Africa will become more united. But I don't believe so. I don't see that happening. I think the best way for Africa to become more united is through the regional blocks. And through the regional blocks, that's big enough to be a strong and powerful nation that could bargain and do business around the world. But the countries that we have now in Africa, 54 countries, trying to fight against bigger nations, it's not a chance for Africa to survive. We're already divided. And trying to think that the whole Africa should work as a team for the progress of Africa. No, that too is it's not gonna happen. Regional power is the way. And the northern African countries with the Arab leagues are only showing us that that's the only way forward. That's the only way forward to make Africa stronger. And when we even have the five regional bloc working as five blocks, five powerful blocks, it will create the united Africa that we want. But thinking that Africa will have one government and one aim, one purpose, even with the fake African Union that we have, nothing still is being done. Many Africans are still running out of Africa through the waters, dying in the process in search of greener pasture. Meanwhile, you have a lot of Chinese in Africa getting rich. You have a lot of Europeans in Africa getting rich. You have a lot of other races in Africa getting rich, but Africans are running out of Africa in search of greener pasture. You know, what the Arab League has displayed with Northern Africa only further um, tells me that regional bloc is the key to the salvation of black people. Look at what is happening in West Africa. If you look at many of the West African countries, you have the Boko Haram issue going on. You don't have the Boko Haram issue in Northern Africa, but you have it in West Central, and it's even in Southern Africa as well, in Mozambique. But it's not in Northern Africa. Why is that? And the only way to actually combat the Boko Haram issue is when the regional blocs work together to destroy Boko Haram. That is where our power lies. But, African leaders, just because they want to be president of a nation, small nation, don't want to work as a regional bloc. You know, it's a problem. But the African people must wake up and face reality and see the truth that it's only through regional power and the people fighting against these weak leaders who give in so easily to Western and Eastern influences that control the continent of Africa. Our leaders are a big problem, but it's only the youths that will have to speak boldly against useless old leaders who stay in power and don't want to give the power up because power is too sweet. Regional power and Arab League is displaying how powerful they are. But then again, if you look at what happened in 2011 when Gaddafi was being killed in Libya, the Arab League did not intervene, was not or wasn't powerful enough to intervene, and Northern Africa could not do anything to stop that. But with this dam being built in Ethiopia, I hope East Africa can wake up and try to work as a team for the interest of all East Africans. And that goes with all the regional power in Africa as well. Without which we are doomed. This is King Echu. I'm out.